Hi there. Today we are going to see how to show a message when we create a new account and that account doesn't have any contacts and we should display a flow. So let's give here an example. So I'm going to create EvoluteMessage as an account. That EvoluteMessage doesn't have any contact, and when I access here I can see a flow here for me displaying as a pop-up to ask me to create a contact. So let me create one here. And then after I create the contact, I will be redirecting to the new contact. And then if I go, and also the flow, also the account, it's linked with that new contact. So that's what this video is gonna show. And if you go back here and also refresh, I'm not going to see that pop-up anymore. So let's start on the new org, how to set up this flow. Here I have a new org. I don't have the message, so let's set up that. So let's just make a test here to see if we have that. Let me close here. If we have that flow, so if I go to account, let's view all, and then if I go to here and create a EvoluteMessage, I'm not going to see any pop-up, right? So then I have to actually manually go there and create a new account here. Okay, so let's create the flow for that. So let's go to the flow. So let's search for flow, and then click on new flow, and it should be screen flow. So here, and then we are going to screen, and then let's put just two fields for now. It's a text field, first name, and last name. Okay, so this is gonna be my create contact. And here we don't need, so the button here needs, let's call that submit, and we don't need to show any previous button, and also we don't need to show the pause button. So let's click on done, and then now here we are going to create actually the record, so the contact record. So let's create a contact record. Here's the create contact record. And now here we are going to choose the contact object, and then here we are going to say first name. It's gonna be our first name field, and the last name, it's gonna be our last name field that we just added. But also we want to add the account ID, right? Because we want to link both. So how do we do that? So we have to create a new variable that the EvoluteMessage is gonna send to us, which is the record ID that the user is. So when I am on this page here, we need to send this record ID here to the flow. And how do we do that? So EvoluteMessage, so let me go back here. Let's create a flow for our process. When the flow starts, the EvoluteMessage has an option here to send the current page ID. So if we click here to show, we can see the ID that the EvoluteMessage is gonna send to the flow. And we can go back to our flow and create that variable with the same name. So the EvoluteMessage always gonna send the same variable name. So, and here we have to tell the flow that this is gonna be an input, because the EvoluteMessage is gonna send to the flow. So here we have. So now we also want to redirect to the contact that we are creating, right? So here I'm gonna say new record ID, and I'm going to use that in my flow, in my message soon. So when the flow creates that variable, it's gonna be output and the information that we are going to have here is the contact ID. So, and when the flow finish, the flow is gonna output this variable here, where the EvoluteMessage can get and redirect to the page using that variable. So my flow is ready. So let me activate here. Let me say create contact from account page. Oops. Create contact from account page. And then save, and then I have to activate that. If you go here and you don't see your flow, it's because it's not a screen flow or it's not activated. So as you can see here, I can't see my flow even though I saved. So if we go back here and activate that, right? So I still not seeing that create account. So if I click refresh here, and I can see right here. So let's keep configuring our message now. We will just click on add there and select the flow, and then double click on the field here to show the flow field settings. Now we can choose our flow. We are saying to our flow that we are going to send the current page ID, and also we are saying to our flow that we will close the message when the flow finish, and also redirect. And we are going to redirect to the new ID that we created, that variable that we created. So that's it. So I also don't need the header here and the bottom, so let's hide that. And let's name this as create fast contact. So that's it. So now we save. Now if we go back to the account page and click edit page, and then now we can drag and drop our components. We can drag and drop any place, and then we choose our message that we just create. We don't need to see that on the builder right now. Just need to save. Need to activate that because it's a new org. So assign desktop and okay, mobile, save, and save again, just make sure. And now if you go to my account and the EvoluteMessage, it's going to load all the time. But the problem is it's loading all the time because it didn't add any filter. So if I go to an existing account which has contact, it's also loading. So we shouldn't load this flow here when we do have an account. So how do we do that? How do we filter that? So we have to add a new filter. We are going to first create a data source, and the data source is going to say when actually load when account has contact. So here we're going to load contact, and the contact here is not the ID. So it's if the contact has an account ID, and the account ID here we are going to get from the current page. And the current page, remember, is the page, the detailed page here, the page that the message is being loaded. We are going to get this ID here and send to the data source. And basically here we are loading, the logic is to load the two records that if exist for any two records that we have the account ID basically for into the contact object. So that's what's happening here. So this data source is going to load only when we have an account ID. Okay, so now we need to tell our message that the message should show when actually we don't have an account ID, right? So when load when account has contacts. So if that happen, we should not load. So that data source actually should always be empty, and that's what we are going to say here. The other objects that we set here in the data source should be empty. We shouldn't have any records returning on here. and we would have records if we have created already contact. So that's not what we want. So let me go back here, and that's what I did here. And now I'm going to publish. And now if I reload the page, I should not see that message for this account here because we do have a contact. But now if I delete that contact, I don't know if I can delete this contact here, but we can try. No. So let's go back to the EvoluteMessage here because the EvoluteMessage does not have contact. And we should show this, right? So if I create now Rogerio and then test and submit, it is redirected to my page because we did set out the message to redirect, and also it associates the EvoluteMessage, which is the account I create. If I go back to here, it shows 0 here, but Salesforce not refreshing somehow. If I refresh the page, I don't see the contact here. Sorry, I see the new contact here. And that's it. If I delete that and refresh the page, I will see the pop-up again. Another option I have is, so this is a pop-up, right? So another option we have is to show the flow also as a normal flow here, normal message there. And I can do that just by change here and setting this to inline. So I can do that. So once I reload here, I'm gonna see now the flow being loaded here. So now I can do the same logic and submit. So it would redirect me here. If I go back here, refresh the page, I will not see that flow message showing up anymore. And it follows the same principle. So if I delete this, it's gonna show again because I don't have the contact for the account. I hope that helps. This is all this video has to show. If you have any questions, please go to evolutemessage.com. And then we also have a documentation here. We have flow here. And then if you have any feedback or any scenario that you'd like to discuss or that you think if your message can do it, but you're not sure, contact us here. We will answer in, I think, max 24 hours. So just let us know. Thank you very much.